Good morning, everyone. The topic of avoidance and their behaviors following no contact is both complex and insightful. At its core, understanding why avoidants seem to become addicted to someone after a period of no contact requires us to dive deep into the psychology of attachment, the subconscious mind, and the interplay between emotional regulation and trauma. Imagine this: you're in a relationship with someone who often pulls away. They might seem distant, unavailable, or even detached at times. This behavior triggers an instinctive reaction in you, leading to confusion, frustration, or perhaps even a feeling of helplessness. You don't fully understand why they're so closed off or why they can be so inconsistent in their affections. But then, one day, you decide to take a step back. You initiate no contact, leaving them with no way to reach out, no way to draw you back in when they feel emotionally overwhelmed. It's during this period that something remarkable happens. The very distance that you've created to protect yourself from the emotional roller coaster of an avoidance withdrawal becomes the catalyst for a powerful transformation. You see, avoidants in the depth of their subconscious minds are wired to fear intimacy and emotional vulnerability. Their avoidance often stems from an early emotional wound, whether it was neglect, abandonment, or inconsistent emotional support. These wounds, buried deep in the unconscious mind, dictate their actions in relationships. But here's the paradox: while they fear closeness, they also crave it. Their inner world is torn between the need for connection and the desire to keep the world at bay. When you, the person in their life, implement no contact, something extraordinary begins to unfold. For the avoidant, the absence of communication creates a void, a deep emotional emptiness that begins to trigger their unresolved attachment issues. Their subconscious mind, which has been wired to protect them from getting hurt, starts to feel the absence of the very thing they unconsciously crave: connection, love, and closeness. They begin to feel an emotional dependency on you, even if they cannot fully understand or articulate it. At a deeper level, the avoidance of intimacy was their defense mechanism, something that helped them cope with pain from the past. But now, when that defense is taken away, they are forced to confront the very emotions they've been trying to suppress. It's like a mirror being held up to their deepest fears and desires. The mind can no longer hide behind the shield of detachment. And in this vulnerable space, the avoidance attachment system begins to activate. The challenge here is that the avoidant doesn't yet have the emotional tools or the internal safety to confront these feelings directly. Their nervous system is in a constant state of tension between the urge to seek closeness and the need to protect themselves from perceived emotional harm. This inner turmoil intensifies when you create distance, because now they must reckon with their attachment wounds and the belief that they might lose the connection they have longed for but feared. The concept addiction is a powerful one in this context. When an avoidant feels the absence of connection, their brain starts to release the neurochemicals associated with attachment, longing, and neediness. Dopamine, which is linked to feelings of reward and pleasure, is activated when they think about the possibility of reconnection. Cortisol, the stress hormone, also surges as their system goes into overdrive, trying to bring the connection back into their lives. The push-pull dynamic that often characterizes relationships with avoidance becomes even more pronounced. The lack of contact creates a biological and emotional imbalance, one that the avoidant doesn't know how to regulate on their own. Their body and mind start craving resolution. They want to return to the safety of familiarity, the emotional closeness they instinctively know they need, yet are terrified to fully experience. So they begin to obsess. They replay memories, consider what they might have done wrong, and wonder if they can salvage the relationship. At the same time, they battle their own fears of vulnerability, rejection, and abandonment. The paradox of craving closeness while fearing it has now escalated into an emotional storm. This is where the addict-like behavior becomes apparent. The longer the avoidant is without contact, the more their nervous system begins to misfire. They begin to feel the absence as a threat to their emotional equilibrium. Like someone experiencing withdrawal, their cravings for emotional connection intensify. They may not be able to articulate it this way, but their mind is searching for the familiar comfort of the emotional highs and lows you once shared. It's a craving for resolution, for peace, for the return of the connection that feels both necessary and dangerous. In this way, avoidants often become addicted to you after no contact. It's not just the physical presence they miss, it's the emotional energy, the tension, the unpredictability, and yes, even the drama that once accompanied the relationship. Their nervous systems have become conditioned to respond to the patterns of connection and disconnection. The brain's wiring has formed associations, and the absence of this dynamic leaves them feeling unsettled. They become caught in a loop of desire and fear, a loop that feeds their addiction. But there's a catch. The longer you remain out of contact, the more the avoidant may start to confront their own emotional blocks. They will experience an inner shift, a moment of realization when they begin to see that their patterns of avoidance have been running the show. If they are willing to do the work, if they are willing to confront their inner fears, self-protective mechanisms, and attachment wounds, they may start to understand the true nature of their emotional dependency. This is a transformative moment, but it is not a guaranteed one. It requires immense self-awareness and emotional maturity for the avoidant to face these truths without turning back to old patterns. The real power, however, lies not in their reaction, but in your own. The no-contact rule, while powerful in its ability to stir emotional awakenings in others, is most effective when it is a tool for your own healing. When you step away, you are giving yourself the space to regain your own sense of emotional sovereignty. You are not just taking a break from the avoidance pull, you are reestablishing a boundary that affirms your own worth and needs. This boundary serves as a mirror to the avoidant, reflecting back to them the importance of mutual emotional investment. For them to reconnect with you, they must first confront their fears, face their attachment wounds, and break free from the cycle of avoidance that has kept them trapped. In this way, no contact becomes a catalyst for growth for both of you. The real work happens not in the act of avoiding contact, but in the personal transformation that occurs within the emotional space that no contact creates. In the end, avoidance may indeed become addicted to you after no contact, but this addiction, while painful, can also be the very force that drives them to heal. Whether they consciously realize it or not, the absence of connection may push them to face their deepest fears and start to rewrite their own narrative around intimacy. This is the profound lesson of no contact. It isn't just about making the avoidant realize your worth, it's about giving them the space to realize their own. When we recognize that we are all walking around with unconscious patterns that have been shaped by our past, we can begin to see the potential for transformation in every relationship, in every interaction. The space that no contact creates is an opportunity for both the avoidant and the individual to confront their deeper emotional truths. The shift from addiction to healing, from fear to connection is possible, but only if we are brave enough to step into the unknown, to face the discomfort of our own emotions, and to embrace the possibility of change. In this way, no contact becomes not just a strategy, but a tool for both self-liberation and emotional awakening. The avoidance addiction to you, in the end, becomes a reflection of their deeper need for growth, transformation, and ultimately true emotional freedom. And as for you, it offers the chance to reclaim your own power, your own sense of self, and to cultivate the kind of relationships that honor your deepest emotional needs. Thank you.